friends, Jewel back with another super cool astrology video. And I want to talk about the composite aspect of Jupiter opposing Pluto. What happens when we see this powerful aspect in a composite chart? So composite charts are midpoint charts and also applies to the Davison relationship chart, where it's not partner comparison. This is the midpoint charts. One chart compares where you guys meet in the middle. So it's the larger picture of what the relationship is about and what goes on between the two of you, the effect that you have upon each other. So Jupiter is that principle of expansion, and Pluto is that principle of attachment and control and being largely, invested in outcomes. So when we have these meeting in an opposition, first of all, you typically see this in the composite charts of older people that have resources of their own when they start out in the relationships. Really a lot more common for me to see that because it implies a certain amount of frustration or control over each other's resources or the resources of the partnership itself. So there's a control factor that arises when we have this particular opposition. And in an otherwise functioning composite chart, this one is doable. This is generally not a deal breaker. And Jupiter is not a personal planet. If it is in one or both people's natal charts, this can take on an added dimension of being more of a touchy personal problem. But we see a certain amount of pulling against each other when it comes to the efforts to either control each other or control the resources within the partnership, or what those are going to go towards, or where are we going to live, what are we going to do with a longer term scope of our relationship. Where is that going? What is the vision for our relationship? And we tend to want to control that. We have an extreme attachment to what that is with this particular opposition. So we need to learn to take that energy and not use it on each other. We need to turn it into getting things together. Because people can actually grow their resources, they can grow their stuff, they can make that bigger if they are working towards something rather than against each other. So we have to realize that we may have a different vision, because Jupiter is that longer term vision of what we see makes us joyful or happy. We may have a different vision. Usually, though, it's a complementary vision, even though it's different, because this is an opposition. There's something in that we both need. So how can we work with each other in such a way where this seeming division, is not a hindrance to the relationship, but it's a help to the relationship? So sometimes we have to get a little creative about, are we living together or maybe not living together? Maybe that's what solves this issue of that pull against what's yours and what's mine, or what we should do together, or maybe we're in a joint business together or a joint project together where we're going after resources or creating resources and then using those in a joint way. So there are some cases where this particular opposition can lead to legal trouble with people. Hard aspects in the natal chart and composite charts between Jupiter and Pluto, particularly the opposition and the in conjunction, are going to point to a certain amount of tax or legal trouble very, very frequently. Something has to do with resources or 8th house issues, which is other people's resources, taxes, death, owing, attachment, things like that, hiding. So this one can show that we do get into a certain amount of hot water with authorities or legal difficulties, that is not going to be really, really readily apparent when you look at composite charts where exactly this is stemming from. You would want to look at the houses that this opposition is falling into. And you would want to very closely examine the synastry and what is the 8th house exchange, the second 8th house exchange, and the Pluto-Venus exchange in people's natal charts to get a better idea of what that could be, what that the legal hurdles or the battles that we get into. There's something about the energy between the two people that put them in a position where they get themselves into some kind of legal difficulty or tax difficulty. Not all the time. Not everybody with this opposition, their composite chart, is going to be a Bonnie and Clyde. That's not going to happen. Don't get paranoid. Start writing me emails. It's specific to the propensities or the proclivities in the natal chart. So you have to look at the basis of where this is coming from. But it is, you can't see that with this one. So, all in all, we need to not be so demanding when it comes to what our long-term vision for this relationship has to be. We have to let go a lot of the attachments of what the other person should or should not be believing or thinking about the relationship. Because there's kind of a forced philosophy with this opposition, and we can get pretty, this one can lead to deep, deep resentment, because over time we can, build and build and build our feelings of being shorted with this particular opposition, and then that explodes and it creates all kinds of havoc and drama between two people. So this is not a subtle aspect in a composite chart. It is one that doesn't tend to rear its ugly head every day because it's not affecting the personal planets between two people, but it is going to be a theme in the relationship. So you can actually accomplish a lot with this opposition if you're using it wisely and not being petty within the relationship. And it's one that can contribute to a liveliness and financial, doing well together, but it is an opposition and you have to look at the natal charts. It can also lead to a certain amount of financial well-doing or well-being, but it's not completely honest, or there's something there that is not on the table because Pluto is hidden things and hidden motivations. So I hope this was helpful. If it was, please subscribe to my channel. You can find me on the internet at truthinAspectAstrology.com and Instagram and Facebook at truthinAspectAstrology. And yes, I do private consultation. I'll be back super soon. More super cool videos.